Gunshot Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. The views expressed are those of the speaker and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of any advertiser or business entity associated with this broadcast. Here is your host, Mark Gunn.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Gunshot Straight from the Hip. My name is Mark Gunn. Of course, this is the podcast where we tell the stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And if you've been listening for the last 5 episodes, you have met some incredible people. This episode is no different because this is a story of it never being too late to follow a dream, to do what it is that you want to do. And in the studio today, I have Shannon and Bart Burton. And Shannon, mom of 2 incredible daughters that are doing incredible things.
They are.
Bart is the girl dad of incredible ladies. And Shannon has done something, because we met, about 10 years ago?
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a minute. Not only did you come off of a brilliant college career, and we'll tell that story in a minute, but you started doing something that people our age wouldn't ordinarily be doing. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you in here. So let's talk about the Shannon Burton story.
Okay.
It started in college when you were playing basketball, right?
Correct. Yes. Basketball was kind of my life for a long period of time. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school in Indiana. I played volleyball, I ran track, I played basketball, and my father played basketball in college, and I believe he still holds the record in the state of Indiana for points per game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's passed, but he was an incredible shooter. So to have a daughter that wanted to play basketball was, of course, his dream. He had 3 girls, so this was like, oh my gosh, I can teach her everything I know. And he did. So, yeah, I grew to love basketball. That's all I did growing up from 7th grade on. Was blessed enough to earn a scholarship to Duke University, and we just went from there. It was amazing experience, and that's kind of why I talked to my daughters about concentrating on something they truly love. I didn't care what it was, because it just helped me to grow so much in my young years. So. And
speaking of growing, how tall are you?
I am 6'1".
6'1".
6'1".
Barefoot. In heels? Forget about it.
Right.
So the height was put to good use.
It was.
And so once you got out of college, you went into the whole modeling thing.
Modeling it took a long period of time. I never really looked at myself as a model. I was always an athlete, very into athletics, very into fitness and working out and things of that nature. And so upon graduating from college, I decided to take on a role as a personal trainer. So got certified and started training people in home. And I got so much satisfaction out of that. I worked with a lot of elderly clients that in their home. I helped them rehab certain things. It was so rewarding because just the littlest things, sitting and standing from a chair, walking upstairs, when they could do it alone without a cane or something like that, it just filled their hearts, and therefore it filled mine. So it was just an awesome, rewarding experience to do.
So from being a physical trainer, let's talk about, before we get into modeling, life happens, you grow up, you meet this man.
Yeah.
You fall in love. How did you 2 meet? Bart.
It's an interesting story.
It's a funny story. We actually met on a commercial for a Jewish hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mid-20s.
We were both with the same agency, and we both did a commercial as extras for Jewish Hospital. We both showed up. At the time, he was single, I was married, and so there was nothing there. It wasn't even a thought, not a blip on the radar. We just worked together, and then probably 5 years later, I mean, my marriage kind of dissolved, and he contacted me out of the blue, and it was just the strangest thing. And we lived close to each other, never saw each other in those 4 years at the grocery store, gas station, anything. And then we said hello to each other off Facebook one day, and it just never went away.
Wow. And it has to be stated that Bart and Shannon are one of those couples, you look at them, and if you're petty, you're like, Oh, they make me sick. They're so good. These model couples. Now, you had been modeling before, right?
I did. I had a very, very short-lived modeling career. The only really good thing came out of it was meeting her. Yeah. So right time, right place in life. It was very short-lived, but it got me here with her. It is strange. It's a strange story. I tell you, it's weird how life put you where you need to be, I guess you could say.
And the thing is, every time I see these two, whether it be in photos or whatever, I'm like, why isn't this guy modeling? Why is he?
He gets that a lot. He gets that a lot, and he should be. He doesn't.
That's very sweet. I think she makes us look great.
He doesn't like pictures.
Yeah. Really?
No.
And photographer sitting here, I'm like, why is this dude?
Right.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I dabbled a little bit in it. It was never my forte. It doesn't come as natural to me as it did her. Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, it's strange where life puts you. I mean, we were kind of around each other for years and never really saw each other. We both did the movie Secretariat. We were both extras.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we watched the movie because we talked about it, and there's scenes where you can see us both in the same scene,
so
and yet.
Odd.
But never interacted?
Never.
No, we never saw each other, which is strange. It's just, and then when I did reach out to her, we lived maybe 3 miles from one another.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know. It's fate is the only thing I can say. Yeah. It's just the things align. The universe puts you what you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
So what made you reach out?
I really don't know. I'm not, and even Facebook. Like I am not a social media guy.
Not a social media
I'm not on social media. I never really have been. I was on Facebook for 6 months, and she made an impact on me when I met her. And clearly she was married at the time. Right, and it was a friendship thing during the day. We just laughed. We just had a good time. I had a good time. And she just was always like in the back of my mind. Kind of like, well, how could she not be? Right. So it's not like I could ever forget about this woman. And then I guess, again, like the stars aligned. I just happened to be on Facebook one day. Not something I normally do. Saw that I guess that you were single at that time. Like you posted that you were single. And I just reached out to her, said hi.
You shot your shot.
I did. and here I am. So,
man,
timing, right?
12 years later, right?
I mean, and the thing is, I mean, when you just on average, because guys have this thing about extremely beautiful women. Yeah. They're either gun shy because they think, pardon the pun, oh, this woman is way out of my league. Well, or there is an overconfidence that they shouldn't have.
I can't say that it was anything that I did. She's unique. And I'm going to say something that's going to sound conceited, and I don't mean it when I say it. I've dated a lot of pretty women. I didn't get married till I was 34, 35 years old. She was my one and done. And she is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And she has no idea how pretty she is. And there's so refreshing. There's this humble confidence about her that I fell in love with. I tell her she's beautiful every day, and it's like the first time she's heard it. People tell her she's beautiful all the time. We get stopped everywhere. We got stopped at the gym the other day because she has what is that? Your Instagram.
Right.
Tells you how well versed I am.
Blonde,
yes, and we had a young man come up to us who was in his early 20s, and he stopped us during the workout, and he was like, "Can I ask you a question?" He's like, "Are you the atomic blonde of Louisville?" And he wanted his picture taken with her, which I'm glowing, right? I'm like, this is amazing. Like, and she is so like taken aback from it, like I can't believe. And so it's those moments, right? That just make me fall more in love with her, because as beautiful as she is, she doesn't have a clue. And I love that. I love this she's confident, but there's this humble confidence about her that's just so heartwarming. And
it's the real deal, because I remember when we met at Julie Smith's going away party.
Yes.
Julie Smith was a TV anchor here who now is doing her thing in Atlanta. Love you, Jules. It was that same quiet confidence. It's like when she walked in, there was like all eyes on her, on Shannon, because you do have a presence. And throughout that time, it's exactly to your point. There's a humility that's there.
So she's easy to talk to, and she just, for me, she always felt familiar.
That's a good word.
Like,
right. It's like you've known her.
I get choked up when I talk about it.
I love it.
I do this every time. It's been 12 years and I can't talk about it without getting a cracked voice and whatnot. But for me, she's home, and I've always felt that. So
what was it about this lug that that drew you to him?
Besides the obvious, like, he's 6'4", he's stunningly handsome, but like he has this sense of humor that it's kind of twisted. It's twisted. It's a little off sometimes, but he's so funny. He's so witty, and it comes so quickly. And we laughed that day. Yeah. We laughed so hard on that commercial set, and I thought, this guy is hysterical. I don't know what it is about him. He's just funny, and he's just been that way. He's a very strong personality in that he's old school. Right. Opens doors for you, thinks you should walk on the inside of the street, all of those things. Yep. But you just saw, like, he's a softie. He doesn't like to admit that, but like he's got this soft heart, and I saw it with my daughters, and I still see it with the girls all the time. He's strong, and he knows he's the protector of our family, but then at the same time, he just has this softness about him that you just can't help but love. I mean, just don't tell anybody. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're going to take a little bit of break so I can pay some bills here. More with Shannon and Bart Burton coming up. It's Gunshots Straight from the Hip.
If you're an advertiser, one of the most important things about getting your message out is actually standing out from the rest of the crowd. While you're listening to this episode, this is where you would hear your commercial. As an exclusive sponsor of Gunshots Straight from the Hip, your business can be exposed to thousands of listeners at any given time. Your commercial is professionally produced and, depending on your message, can have a longer shelf life based on your needs. Gunshot Straight from the Hip is a unique and compelling program, unlike anything else in this particular space. Episodes are available on many podcast platforms, which makes the potential for new customers that much greater. Most of all, it's extremely cost-effective. If you want more information on how to sponsor this program, call Mark Gunn Media at 502-407-0283. That's 502-407-0283. Or visit our website at markgunmedia.com. That's markgunmedia.com.
Mark Gunn Media. No hype, no hoopla, just damn good work.
Welcome back to Gunshot Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. To download this and past episodes, go to markgunmedia.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. Once again, your host, Mark Gunn.
Welcome back to Gunshots Straight from the Hip. My name is Mark Gunn. Remember, you can download this and previous episodes simply by going to my website at markgunmedia.com or anywhere and everywhere you get your podcasts. We tell the stories of ordinary people that do extraordinary things. And in the building today, Shannon and Bart Burton. An inspiration to a lot of older people because Shannon is doing something as far as modeling is concerned that is rather unusual. Bart was behind the lens at one time, but if I have my way, we're going to get him back there. We were talking about Bart and how you two met and the relationship before. And look, people know that I'm also a photographer, and I've always asked, it's like, why is this guy not modeling? Jeez. I mean, it's just like we have a saying in the hood. It's like, bro, I'm straight as they come, but that's a pretty mother. And that's the perfect way to describe Bart. So anyway, you two meet. I can look at you, and it's an ongoing love story. And again, I mentioned your daughters. They're the toughest critics when it comes to new guys coming into their lives.
Yes.
So how did that go over?
It was a very slow process, and I took it very slowly because my girls mean everything to me.
Yes.
And it was scary when we had been dating probably 10 months before I didn't introduce them. I didn't.
Okay.
It was just a scary thing. I had been married for 15 years, so this was like that's all they ever knew was their dad, and I didn't want to have a revolving door or something. I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
I knew I was in love with him very quickly, but it was a whole different story to have the girls be involved. So we waited about 10 months, and he met them at a bowling alley.
Okay.
We went bowling. I thought that was easy. They loved bowling, and I thought, let's just do this. And they just, again, his sense of humor took over, and his playfulness, and they just had fun with him. And when we got back, we drove separately. When we got back into the car, I think it was Haley said, "Can he come to our house? And come play."
Okay.
They still wanted to interact with him. And I said, "Well, let's try this another day. Let's just see." But it was so exciting to know they're open to this person. They want to be around him. They liked being around him. Their dad is very, very involved in their lives. We have developed over these years. It's so unusual, and anybody who follows me on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that can see him and I are very good friends. They're very good friends at this point. Yeah. And it's just, Eric is his name, he'll go talk with Bart for hours, and I'll just be like, well, I'll just be over here. Right. But it's a beautiful thing for our girls. It's a beautiful thing to watch them. They've just grown knowing we're loved. That's all. That's all that matters to them. They just know that they're loved, and that just is one more person to love them. I feel very lucky that Eric is the way he is, and an open mind to bring Bart into their lives, and Bart has been open to have their dad around all the time, and it's just lucky us.
See, and I think what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're a girl dad, you're stepping in to take the responsibility for somebody else's girls. That is a bond between fathers that is so unusual. Yeah. It's because if somebody hurts your girls, it's like that scene from, I forget the movie, we got to go hurt somebody. I can't tell you who it is
just get
or where it is. Just get a shovel.
Correct.
Where do we go?
Yeah.
It's that type of thing, and it's that deep. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Good on the both of you, man.
Yeah,
Good on the
I'm
both
very
of you.
lucky. The girls, they get it double time. They get the dads double time.
Yep.
Sometimes it's overwhelming, but it's interesting because they have their dad and that father figure, and he's more of the friend, provider, protector kind of person. And so he gets told certain things by the girls that maybe I don't, that maybe Eric doesn't. We all get these different versions of these two beautiful young ladies, and it all works, and it's just.
But I love the dynamic, because it's like, we've had this discussion. Eric and I have had this discussion. I've had this discussion with the girls, and that's the thing. I think that's what works for us, is we're open when it comes to communication, right? And I've never tried to be the girl's father.
Right.
He's there, right? So I'm not stepping on his toes or trying to fill his shoes. They don't even call me their stepdad, because it's just, what is that? I don't know what that is. The term itself makes me mad. I don't know what stepdad means. But they just call me their Bart, and
my Bart. That's what
I'm their Bart, and I just always have been, and we're thick as thieves. And I don't have any biological children of my own.
Right.
We had some tragic events between Shannon and I, but I wouldn't know how to love those girls even any more than I do if they were I don't know what that means, to love somebody more just because they're biological, right? Obviously, we're from Kentucky, but we're not biological. But I couldn't imagine loving her any more than I do, right? So, why would that not apply to my girls? And I call them my girls. And a lot of people that know me, have known me for years, don't even know that they're not my biological girls. I don't call them my stepdaughters. No one needs to know. It's not information right. Those are my girls, and that's what I refer to them as. But I tell you that there's only a few people in this world can make me cry. One of them, well, you just saw, and those two are the other two, and my mom and my mother-in-law. Those are the women that my heart belongs to. And it was scary meeting those two when
I can imagine.
Yeah, because it was scary for me too.
And you have to understand, anybody that knows me, grew up with me, I didn't necessarily want to get married. That wasn't a goal of mine. Right. I always said I wanted to be 40 with a Ferrari, not 40 with a family. And so being at the time, I guess I was 33 years old, meeting these two little girls, and her and I had been dating. And that's one thing, just to reiterate that, she always put them first, and I love that about her, right? And so you you're sitting there falling in love with this woman, and then see how she's treating these children and protecting them. It makes you love her even more with this nurturing quality that she has. But yeah, it was scary going in. I was like, okay, I've got two probably pretty harsh critics right now.
Right,
ready to go meet.
Right.
And God, I fell in love with them. It wasn't even hard. There wasn't even awkward moments. Like, we just, again, it's like they've just always felt familiar to me. And that's the way we were. It just out of the gate, you know how your iPhone shows you pictures from wherever. And there was a picture that showed up not too long ago. It was of that first time that we went bowling together. And it was me sitting there and the two girls, and we were in the middle of a big old belly laugh, I think. And it was just like, gosh, if that could just sum us up, that's it.
That would be it.
Yeah, and it was a good night. And I guess you could say the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're going to pay some more bills, Hill, but you touched on something, Bart, that I want to talk about a little bit, because this is also a part of what makes you two the dynamic couple that you are and the family that you have. More coming up in just a little bit. Gunshots straight from the hip.
As a business owner, one of your biggest concerns is how to market your products and services. What message do I want to send? Who am I sending it to? How do I reach the largest number of people possible? And how do I make it cost effective? The answer to all of these questions is Mark Gunn Media. Mark Gunn is a radio and multimedia specialist with almost 50 years in the industry. He's an award-winning voiceover artist, audio producer, and radio personality who's used his expertise to help thousands of advertisers throughout his career. Just ask anyone that's worked with him, and they'll tell you that Mark Gunn Media gets results. If you're looking for an effective marketing strategy or any multimedia voiceover work, call Mark Gunn Media at 502-407-0283. That's 502-407-0283. Or contact us at markgunmedia.com.
Mark Gunn Media. No hype, no hoopla, just damn good work.
Welcome back to Gunshot Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. To download this and past episodes, go to markgunmedia.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. Once again, your host, Mark Gunn.
Welcome back to Gunshot Straight from the Hip. My name is Mark Gunn. Don't forget that you can download this episode and past episodes wherever you get your podcasts. We tell the stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. They touch the lives of others just by being themselves. And I'm in the studio with Shannon and Bart Burton. Shannon, again, is an inspiration to a lot of women because of her modeling career that we'll talk about in just a little bit. But Bart, you touched on something a little bit ago. Tragedy between the two of you when you were trying to have your own child.
Yeah.
And we've known you for a little bit, so we know stories about Riley. And I know that when something like that happens, it can make or break most couples.
Well, honestly, Riley is my son that I lost with Eric. So I've been through a lot of tragedy.
Okay.
That is actually Hannah's twin brother. Bart and I, when we tried to have our own child, we lost our daughter, Sammy, at 19 weeks. You know, I am a little older than Bart, and so we did do all the testing.
Right.
And we did all the testing through the pregnancy, and we've passed everything with flying colors, and it was so exciting and so amazing that this was actually happening for us. And you know, at 19 weeks, I went in for just a regular ultrasound, and there was no heartbeat. So I actually had to be induced and deliver her, and we held her, and it you know, it changes you. It was very difficult. For me to even put myself out there to even try to have another child after losing my son was a big deal. But you can see our love story is pretty major. So of course I wanted that for us, and unfortunately it just wasn't to be. So we've had some major tragedy for ourselves, and you know, it's been very difficult for him because we went from being on cloud nine thinking we're gonna have these three girls together,
right,
and then having a loss, a pretty hardcore loss. So
again, I keep coming back to this beautiful glow that I'm sitting amongst right now, and with your point about open communication and having to go through this grief and then coming out on the other side stronger than you were before going in. what do you think, if you had to point out one or two key points in all of that, what do you think those were that were able to keep you guys actually make you guys stronger than you were before?
I mean, I think we just leaned on each other. I'm not what you would call an open book. I think I'm probably more, like she said, old school. Kind of your more typical male. I don't talk about my feelings very much. But I had to.
Yeah.
And there's part of me that's still not over it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'll ever be. But she gets me through that. Right. We get each other through that. And that's not to say she doesn't have her days.
Right.
Like, we both do. It's just, that's life. And life's tough. And so when it gets tough, you grab hold of the one that you love the most and you hang on for dear life. So.
There you go. There you go.
Let's switch. Twice.
I feel like Roy Firestone from back in the day.
I thought I was going to be not going to cry during this thing.
Let's switch gears here because you're hanging on for dear life. And Shannon, at age 50, you did something that, so many of us were so proud of you for even taking it on, and B, something that even you didn't think would happen, is that you ended up appearing as a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model.
I did.
Talk to me about how, you went from, I want to do this, because I know there was a woman in your life that was a big inspiration for you.
Yeah, so I didn't start, let me just preface, I started late. I didn't start till I was 35. And when I did that, I couldn't even believe I was doing it then. I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm starting at 35. Like, who does this? But I had been asked so many times, like, and that sounds silly, but because I'm so tall, I have been asked, do you model? And I would just look at them and no, like, I was an athlete my whole life. That wasn't on my radar. That wasn't on my path there. And after I had my children, I thought, why don't I try it? Like, why not? Somebody's asking me to do this. The other thing is, after I lost Riley, I kind of felt like it was one of those things where I felt like he was just like, Mom, go
for it.
Go do it. Like, go try. And so at 35, I took the plunge and tried it. I had a woman that I watched. This is such an unusual story, but a woman that was modeling. It was a reality show a long time ago called She's Got the Look.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that.
And I thought it was the coolest concept. It was for women over 35, and it was similar to that, the Tyra Banks show that I used to watch. America's Next Top Model, and I was obsessed with that show. So I thought this was such a unique thing. They're celebrating women over 35 and having this show for it. So I watched the season, and there was this woman that was on the show, and I thought, this lady's a dead ringer. Like, she's amazing. She's going to win this show. And I'd watch the show, and then I would go on Facebook, and, I would comment on the show's page and cheer her on, and this person's going to win. I just know she went. And she responded one day. And I thought, I got all excited. And and she said, if there's another season, you should enter. And I thought, wow, like, I can't believe this woman that I'm watching on TV is actually saying this. We struck up a friendship through the Facebook page, and she actually texted me or sent me a message on the day that it was my son's Angel Day that said, there's a new season. You need to go out for it. So it was just like one of those, is Riley talking to me here? Is he telling me that I need to go and try this? So I just said, I'm going to do it. And I did. I went out for the show. I made the show. I wasn't there very long, but I made the top 20 and was on the show. And it started from there. When I came back to Louisville, I joined agency here, and the rest is history. Talent? It was Heyman.
I love them. I love them.
I've been with Heyman, and I've also been with Helen Wells. So we're doing a couple things here, and I've done a lot of independent things. The independent things that I do are just, those are the dreams that are way buried inside. Those are the things that come out and go, I love this modeling thing. I love runway, and I love, taking photos, and I love being in front of the camera, but I really want to do this. Like, and I remember with Sports Illustrated, waiting for the Sports Illustrated swim issue to come out. My dad got Sports Illustrated, it would come in the mail, and I didn't care about all the sports then. I wanted to see the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue because there were these just unbelievably gorgeous women in these beautiful swimsuits in these exotic places, and I would just put myself there like, what a dream this would be. Can you imagine what their lives are like? Oh my gosh, I would love to do this. It was just kind of it's the same thing with Victoria's Secret. You go, wow, this is amazing, and you watch the Victoria's Secret fashion show, and you don't ever think to yourself, that could be me.
Right.
No, you just think, wow, that's just an amazing life. So when Sports Illustrated opened the door for regular women to, and I say regular women, extraordinary women. There's extraordinary women everywhere. So we call ourselves regular women, but just moms and sisters and people of my age to do this and to enter into that world. When I was getting ready to turn 50, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, that's going to be my aha, I'm here moment. Like, I'm just going to put myself out there and try this. Never in a million years did I think I would get the response that I did. It's certainly not from MJ Day herself. So it was a shock and a dream come true, just an incredible moment. And here's the thing, I've never, and I know you keep saying people our age, I've never looked at myself, and maybe this is so weird and strange for people, I've never looked at myself as a 53-year-old woman. I'm just a woman.
And to your point, you're exactly right, because I will be 64 in a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I never think, oh my God, I'm going to be 64 in a couple of months.
Right.
And so you're absolutely right.
So that's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
Right?
It is a mindset.
We're almost forced to believe if you get to a certain age, well, you can't do that anymore. Or that's not acceptable anymore. Or what is she thinking? You know, is she delusional? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's all outside noise coming in. Whereas if you feel it in yourself and that's something you want to go for, who's to say, I can't do that? Who's telling me I can't do that? If I listened to all the naysayers outside, that would have never happened to me at 50. Because I know there are people going, gosh, could you just give it up already? I'm very aware that that's going on. But I've never felt more confident in what I want, what fuels me, what drives me, and the outside noise is just noise. Also, I've got two young ladies that are watching.
Yes.
You know, and if they're going, well, gosh, Mom doesn't think she can do that. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Or I always have tried to live my life as an example for them, even like facing your fears and doing the things that maybe others don't think you can do. I truly believe this in my heart. You can do anything you want to do. You just have to put the effort into it. It doesn't mean it's going to pan out for you, but maybe other doors will open because of it. Yeah, I've just never looked at my age as a hurdle. I think, especially with women, premenopause, and then they hit menopause and they go, well, I can't do that. I shouldn't wear the bikini. I need to wear a one piece. I got to wear a wrap. And if you want to, by all means, if that's how you're comfortable, but you can. It's what you feel within yourself. You have to figure out what that is.
You know, these days, and Bart, I know you can attest to this, women are aging more gracefully.
Oh, I believe that.
Today's 50-year-old is not yesterday's 50-year-old.
No, we're not the Golden Girls.
No, not at all. So when you're in that environment, because I know it's hectic, it can be organized chaos, you're around younger models, any of that dynamic come into play? Are they looking up to you? Are you looking at them? What's that dynamic like?
I don't know. It was surreal. Don't get me wrong. It was surreal being in Miami with these women that I'd seen in the pages of Sports Illustrated. I can't say that I wasn't starstruck, like thinking, I'm just sitting here talking to you and I'm going to walk next to you on the runway tomorrow evening. But if I can put into, and he was there when I walked in Miami. I have never in my life, on any runway, in any scenario in my life, felt I was right where I belonged when I was up there. I was not nervous. I was not scared. I didn't feel out of place. The word I can use is joy. I was so joyful being up there, and you could see it.
Yes,
you could. I was like, this is it. Like, this is. I can't believe this is happening to me. This is surreal. This is where I want to be. And I felt like I was a Sports Illustrated model. I really did this.
And that's on your resume.
It's on my resume, you know? So I can feel how I felt that day. And I didn't feel intimidated because there's a 26-year-old walking right next to me. I just didn't. It's not that I had, that much uber confidence that I think that I'm something. It was just, I just felt where I was supposed to be.
And with modeling, it typically opens other doors and other experiences for you. After the Sports Illustrated, what happens?
I have a funny story with that. This honestly will make you laugh because it made me laugh. So I came home. I honestly thought I would win that thing. I don't know what it was. I felt it was no question in my mind.
Right.
There were 7 finalists. We had to wait when we went home to find out who actually won and who got to appear in the magazine, in Sports Illustrated.
Right.
There's no other words to say. I was devastated when I got the call. I love the girl who won. She's amazing. But it was just like, wow, I didn't win. Like it was because it really felt.
No, it was because like you said, I was there. Believe it or not, I teared up. I know what you're gonna.
No,
I know it's crazy, but like, yeah, I was in. I elbowed my way to front row.
There you go.
And I was up there, and it was like her Super Bowl. And like I said, she's a confident woman, but her level of, and it was pure just, she was in her moment, and you could tell that. And everybody else could tell that too. The crowd response, it wasn't like, oh, here comes the older model. It wasn't. It was like, here comes this blonde bombshell. And I'm like, yeah, that smoke show up there's my wife. And then like, everybody's congratulating me, which was a pretty good moment for me. I absolutely was in the same headspace that she was. I was like, there's no way she's not going to win this thing. Like it just, the way she carried herself, the response from the crowd, and she just killed it when she was up there. It was flawless. It was she walks. She's got an impeccable walk for a model. She just does. She just knows how to do it, and she just, everything was just hitting on all cylinders. And I'm like, this is her moment. I was like proud papa out there. Like, my girl's getting ready to kill this thing. Like she's getting ready to get catapulted into a scenario that she's been wishing for ever since her and I had met. And when we came home, and I'm still a little confused about it today. But
it was sad because I really did think, I don't know why, but I really did think I was going to win this thing.
But she still walked in Miami on a runway. That was 200 feet long.
I don't know. Over
in the
a pool,
middle of a pool. Like it was really kind of like amazing, the moment. And like I never want her to take that away from herself.
Right.
Now we've had these discussions time and time again. And she doesn't look at it as a failure by any stretch, right? But like it's like she was so close, and I think that's what drives her. But I'm like, babe, you made it. It wasn't like you literally walked in a Sports Illustrated runway show. And if you don't remember, I've got video. And you can search that on YouTube. And it's everywhere. Like you were there, and you were walking with some celebrities, and you're walking with other finalists. It's like, by no means was that a failure. Like, it was so close that she could taste it. And I get that. Yeah. And now it's like, that's what drives her. Not that she
because it brought me so much joy.
Right.
Here's my funny story. So when I came home, and then I found out I didn't win, the first modeling job I got, we get emails, from our agencies, and the first thing I get is a Depends.
Oh no!
Depends ad, and I'm like, wow! I just went like, okay, well, it was good money, so I slapped those suckers on and took some pictures. I thought, this is a good job, so I'm not gonna not do it. But it was like you go from feeling like oh my gosh, I'm like an SI model to, no, let's get back down to business here. This is real. This is what real life's about.
Wow. You look really good in those things.
He actually took the pictures for my audition. He was like, this is insane.
That's priceless.
Yeah. So it just, you come home and you're feeling pretty good.
Right.
And just it'll bring you right back to reality.
Hello, Depends. Wow. And the thing is, though, you're working fairly consistently still.
I'm still doing things. I'm. The Derby is always a busy time. And
Speaking of which, shout out to our boy Andre Wilson.
Oh yes,
Stylist to the Stars.
Stylist.
I'm hoping to get him on the podcast as well, because
he's been doing some good things.
He brought me off the ledge because I've always had this fear of seersucker. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why. But he had to talk me off the ledge when I finally got to wearing seersucker. So I definitely want him to be on the podcast. So yeah, chances are you'll be working with him again.
Probably.
Man.
Yep.
Oh man. So
he'll always tell me like it is. Shannon, what are you doing? You need a bigger hat. The brim's too little. He'll put me right where I need to be. Yeah.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing about this community to a degree is so small.
It is.
I haven't worked with anybody in the capacity of being a model, but just as far as being in media, that's the framework that I have. But the community is so small and it's so supportive, and everybody else's cheerleader.
Yeah.
That's always been a beautiful thing to watch. But in my case, I started modeling almost a year ago.
Oh, wow.
And while it hasn't been to the level of experience that you guys have, there are a lot of things that I'm learning as I go.
Now, are you discovering it is work, right? It's
work.
Hard work.
It is hard work.
And I know people don't, they're like, oh gosh, like she's smiling for the camera. My biggest thing, like I had so much, I can smile all day long. I am a very commercial, smiley, happy model. If you try to tell me, get, sexy, fierce face, oh my gosh. It takes me a while to get there. And I've learned it over the course of all these years. Because you have to. But
you do have a blue steel look that I've seen on a couple of occasions.
That took me a long time. I'm not comfortable doing that. And most models are comfortable doing that, not smiling. It's just very, I can smile all day. But if you try to get me in that fierce face, wow. I mean, I have to really concentrate and get myself in a whole nother area. Right. So I just wondered if you were just feeling that,
yes.
Yeah. It's a lot harder than it seems.
Yeah, it is. And in my case, because it's on such a smaller scale, I'm focusing on everything that I put on my body.
Sure.
Accessories, the whole 9 yards.
Well, you look awfully dapper today.
Thank you. Because we're trying to normalize men wearing suits again.
I love it.
We're trying to send messages to younger men that it's okay to dress well and everything that comes with it, because Bart, you know this, when you look good, you feel good.
That's true.
And there's a level of confidence that you get. And so my path is a little bit different because there's a little bit of advocacy that goes with it. But in your case, like I said, you're inspiring a lot of older and younger women as well, because again, to your earlier point, you can do this.
Yes. It's taken a lot, and I think this is coming with my maturity in not only the industry, but just with maturity within myself. It takes a lot because women are not always nice. They're not nice, you know, and they snicker and they talk behind your back and they want it. It's either one extreme or the other. I've got unbelievable supporters that are just like, wow. And some that I don't even know, and then they'll see me somewhere, they'll reach out to me with a DM or something. And it's all ages. Honestly, it's all ages. And I love that. And then I have the people that you think are going to support you, and you go, and then they kind of drop off. And you think, well, how did that happen? Did I make them uncomfortable? Is it something I'm doing that they don't like or they're not accepting? I don't know. And I've just had to learn. People are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to like you or they're not. You can't control that. They're going to support you or they're not. You can't control that. So just go do you and do it to the best of your ability. And that's all you can do. And if you inspire someone along the way, awesome.
All right, we got one more bill to pay. And we've got more with Shannon and Bart Burton coming up. It's Gunshots Straight from the Hip. The People Station, 104.7 WLOU Jams, standing in the gap, because kindness and service change lives. There are moments in life when someone steps in, not for recognition, not for applause, but simply because they care. They see a need and they fill it. That's what Standing in the Gap is all about. The vision came from our Vice President and General Manager, Steve Murphy, who felt it deep in his spirit, a calling to recognize and honor those who quietly make a difference. Whether it's a neighbor helping a family in need, a teacher going the extra mile, or a volunteer making an impact, we want to celebrate them and inspire others to do the same. WLOU is making a space to lift up these unsung heroes, but we can't do it alone. If you know someone who deserves to be recognized, tell us. And to our business and community partners, this is your opportunity to support something that truly matters. Together, we can stand in the gap gap and make a difference. Standing in the Gap, because kindness and service change lives. Only from the People Station, 104.7 WLOU Jams.
Welcome back to Gunshot Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. To download this and past episodes, go to markgunmedia.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. Once again, your host, Mark Gunn.
Welcome back to Gunshot Straight from the Hip. My name is Mark Gunn. We tell the stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Don't forget, you can download this and past episodes simply by going to my website at markgunmedia.com. You can check out all the other multimedia services that we offer. And wherever you get your podcasts, we're talking with Shannon and Bart Burton about being an older model and inspiring a lot of people. You started late at 35 in the modeling world that is typically considered past prime. But what I'm also seeing just over the last few years, there is an appreciation
Yes.
for more seasoned men and women in the industry.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
And why do you think that is? Is it agencies getting a look at reality, or is there an aesthetic?
I believe it's a little bit of both. I think that for women, if you're a company in the beauty industry or the clothing industry or anything like that, we're the consumers. My age is the consumers.
Right.
We're buying most of the beauty products, makeup products, clothing. And I think that because of that, they don't want to see a 22-year-old in, not necessarily, in the things that we want to feel comfortable. You know, I think that's part of it. But I also believe that we are opening our eyes to see that women and men of a more distinguished, we're still hot.
We're still hot.
We're still kicking.
She's not going to say it, but I am. We're still hot, damn it.
We are. I think that we've been dismissed for so long. And if you look at Hollywood, a lot of the leading actresses, they're in their 50s, late 50s, some of them. And they look amazing. Look at Demi Moore right now. I mean, she's on the top of her game, and she's 58, 59 years old. I love it.
See,
I just think that the world is opening their eyes to more realms of beauty, and I applaud that.
I think that's attractive. I think when older people take care of themselves, take pride in what they look like, how they look, how they feel, how healthy they are. I think that there's a level of, definitely for me, like, she's in her 50s and no one looks at her as a number. No. Because she walks in the room and they go, holy, look at that, right? And it's like, I watch her at the gym all the time. It's like, there's no one's putting an age on her. Right. And to me, that's sexy. Because like if you're in your 20s, you have no reason not to be in shape. And it might be controversial to say, but I feel like you're in your prime and you should take care of your body at all stages in your life. But it's easier when you're in your 20s. It's harder when you get later in life. You have to pay attention more to the things you put in your body, the things you put on your body, and the things that you do with your body. And look, she pays attention to those things. And to me, that's like a level of commitment and dedication that I find sexy. I find that very attractive, and I always have. But I think it's a good movement. I think that no longer are the days where, I'm in my 40s, I'm hanging it up. It's time to get a beer belly and kick back on the couch, or vice versa. Same goes for women. I was like, I'm glad that we're at this
mindset.
point.
I just totally believe it's a mindset, and we've been preconditioned to think, I'm 50. Life is going downhill from here. It's all over for me. We go through changes, obviously, and there's things that are harder to lift and harder to,
lift, carry, shape,
all those things.
Right.
But you have to believe, and when you see yourself in the mirror, think, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And I want my daughter so desperately to grow up thinking, I can do anything I want to do. There's nothing that's going to stop me. It's all my mindset. Nobody's going to tell me I can't, and nobody's going to stand in my way. I think that's where I'm at. I tried leading by example. And I hope I'm giving this Sports Illustrated thing one more shot, as you know.
Yes.
And we can kind of go back to it was so close, and I felt so at home there. And, I've been following MJ and all the editors, and I look at their stuff every single day on Instagram and what they're doing and what they stand for. And I just want to be a part of that brand. It's just there, and I don't know how to get rid of it yet. So until I'm ready to go, all right, I gave it my best shot. I'm still going.
There you go. I mean, and if you don't take anything else away from this conversation, is you don't give up on a dream.
Amen.
It may take you a few times in order for it to happen, but it's going to happen at some point. And even if it doesn't, you don't want to kick yourself in the butt for not giving it 100%.
Yes,
and
I
then some.
never,
So,
ever want to go, what if? What if I
Right.
would have tried one more time? Now, I do have a timeline for myself. It's a personal timeline. When I've hit that timeline, then I know. But right now, it's not there yet. So I'm going to give it all I've got. And, you know, those editors could look at me and go, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with her? Like, she's still back. She's coming back again.
Right.
We know this about her. We know this about her. But maybe they'll just say, you know what? That's the kind of woman we need.
Right. It's the drive.
That's the person that we need to be a part of this brand. She's got that thing that we need. And I'm gonna see if that's it.
All right. Now, before we wrap up, you talk to this young man right here.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I know, you're old school.
Yes.
Been there, done that.
Right.
But I'm telling you, get your ass behind the camera or in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm going to post photos of these two, and when you see them, you'll say, you know what? He was right. That's a pretty mother.
Well, it's very flattering. I'm not opposed to it. I guess I'll say that.
Well, for men, I think, or at least it's been my experience, getting older, you don't really come into your own. At least for me, I haven't really come into my own until I hit maybe mid-50s.
See?
Yeah.
And then even now, just over the last year, because if somebody else is seeing something in you that you don't see, and then you finally are like, you know what? There's something to what they were saying. I think I see what they're talking about. That's a light switch that once it's on, it may never go off. Now, I may never get to the level that you guys have reached as a model. That's fine, because for me, this is an experience. Somebody told me a year ago, we're going to take pictures of you in nice clothes. What? Huh? Oh, yeah. You've got to look. Huh? I'm like, what are you talking about? But here we are.
Here we are.
And so it's those things that embrace it.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
What do you have to live?
I know.
You've been there, done that.
I've told him
and
so many
you can
times.
do it again.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
I appreciate
you
that.
need to do this again.
See, we need to pay commission,
I know.
right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
So there you go. There you go. Guys, thank you so much for
Thank you for having
It's
us.
just like I've wanted you in here for a minute, and I know with your schedule being the way it is, it's hard. And the fact that you brought Bart with you is a bonus because publicly, and I may have said this to you online before, but knowing this one as I've known her, and then when she met you, it was like, okay, she's good. And I personally want to thank, see, now I'm getting choked up. I want to thank you for loving her.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's been my pleasure to love that woman. That's
that's a
And on that note,
seriously. Now
check
I'm
us
crying.
out.
We're all gonna cry.
We've got more episodes of Gunshots Straight from the Hip.
3 times. Mark.
There you go. Good. Just call me Roy Firestone. Again, check out the website for past episodes. Download them. Please subscribe. Leave your feedback because we're always looking for your feedback. And if you happen to be on Apple Podcasts, leave a review because that helps with the algorithm, okay? We will see you on the next episode. God's peace, God's blessings. Remember my random hugs of kindness. You want to hug 5 people every day, 4 people that you know, 1 person that you don't know, because the power of a hug is an incredible thing. And as always, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. We'll see you next episode.
You've been listening to Gunshots Straight from the Hip, the show that explores the lives of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. These are uplifting stories of people just like you who touch the lives of others just by being themselves. We're always looking for feedback and show ideas, so reach out to us by email. mark@markgunmedia.com. That's mark@markgunmedia.com. Make sure you check us out for the next episode. Thank you for listening.
Mark Gun Media. No hype, no hoopla, just damn good work.